Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday podcast episode, and I'm going to share with you a channeled message I'm receiving around these strong Aquarius energies. I'm recording this in January 2025, the very beginning of Aquarius season, with the Sun now in Aquarius and Pluto in Aquarius. Now, this is a powerful energy field when the Sun and Pluto are conjunct. They will be conjunct January 21st, 2025 at 1 degree 41 minutes of Aquarius. And this is a new synodic cycle that begins with the consciousness of the Sun and the consciousness of Pluto lining up together for powerful transformational energies that then enter into the collective field. For the next 19 years, the Sun is going to have an ongoing conjunction to Pluto in Aquarius. And that energy is designed to unfold over the next 12-month cycle. Intense changes happen when the Sun and Pluto are conjunct. And as we know, Pluto will continue through Aquarius until 2044 and will be changing the Aquarius areas of our lives deeply and permanently. When the Sun enters into the conversation with Pluto, the Sun brings in the current neutrino stream that the Sun is always emitting and blasting out into the solar system. So here you have a neutrino stream lining up with the Plutonic energies that will bring about revelations, secrets, hidden information, scientific breakthroughs and discoveries, weaknesses in systems, both intellectual systems and physical systems, and will also accentuate the dynamic interplay between light and dark, warmth and cold, love and fear, acceptance and hate. So there is more of an extreme focus on polarities that rise to the surface and are seen. At a more personal level, you're going to be receiving messages into your own personal consciousness here in Aquarius around where you are ready to shift and evolve. And this actually is working with our personal energy systems and how our personal energy fields are going to be evolving. And the information I'm receiving is in regards to two particular areas of our bodies. The first is our central nervous system, that part of ourselves that is highly intelligent and always communicating with other areas of the body. As these new energies stream onto our planet, there's going to be new frequencies that we feel, and we're not going to understand why, how, or where necessarily, but we're going to sense that the energy is new and fresh, and that ultimately it can help us in understanding more of who we are at this time on the planet. And so this energy that's coming through is speaking to our central nervous system through higher frequencies that are transmitting new messages that, again, our body consciousness is picking up and feeling. And then this energy rises up and connects to our neurological programming, and I'm seeing shifts in our brain waves. Now, of course, my disclosure is that I am not a scientist. I am not giving you any medical information. I'm simply sharing the energetics that I'm seeing and how they are working together, that interplay and that synergistic connection here. Please note, this might not be exactly literal, but I hope it offers you an understanding of anything you're feeling or sensing that is new and different. So in regards to the brainwaves, I'm seeing that the typical brainwaves that we're accustomed to, gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta, that they're going to be shifting in some way as our nervous systems shift and evolve. And in regards to the brainwaves, I'm seeing them start to overlap in new ways, as if there's new neural activity happening that is showing up through the brain waves, and it just looks like it's overlapping even more. And because I know nothing about this scientifically, what I'm seeing is that we're able to access new parts of the brain faster. We're able to access new areas of the brain that are opening up and coming online. There's more that we're going to start computing at a faster speed. And there's more that we're downloading and understanding that, again, it's shifting how the brain wave activity works. So again, new patterns, new connection points, and faster access to parts of the brain that have been previously shut down or misunderstood or slow to come online. So all of this relates then to the synergistic connection to the central nervous system that also feels like it's coming online in a whole new way. And it's showing up as changes in our sleep patterns, changes in the type of rest we need and for how long. For some people, this could show up as needing more rest. And for others, it could be that you're sleeping time has shortened and you need less rest. They're saying that this is connected to how the central nervous system is evolving and how we are learning how to regulate and moderate ourselves in a whole new way that is evolving us away from the primal programming that has operated on our planet for centuries, that we are learning how to be in charge of our primal reactions, or at least to be more aware of them, that there are some parts of ourselves that we can't change. It's just how we're wired and how we're made. But there are parts of ourselves that we're learning have been out of balance or too extreme, such as really big and exaggerated responses that are no longer needed. They're no longer a reflection of an individual's consciousness. They no longer align with how someone wants to use their energy. They're showing me that there are these little shifts that have been unfolding, and they're showing it to me as a graph where as that line moves just 0.5 degrees to the right, it makes a change, and then 0.3 degrees to the right, and then 0.2, and then another 0.5 degrees. It's like these little tiny changes over time have allowed ourselves to integrate and become more conscious of what we're feeling at a primal level. And this primal reprogramming is one of the biggest ways that humanity can advance. But of course, this is done at an individual level. There could only be, for example, 5% of the population who is working on primal reprogramming and wanting to shift parts of themselves that they have outgrown. This can also be directly related to the fight or flight responses that still serve us, that are still important in very specific situations, but aren't meant to be how we use our energy regularly. And they're showing me this as part of how we're elevating our energetic awareness to be more in control of what we're feeling and sensing, so that yes, when there's danger, when there's an emergency, when there's something you have to do quickly, you still have that ability. You're still able to rush in and take care of something or respond rapidly as needed and as appropriately. But we're learning where to direct the energy in ways that are also appropriate when the situation isn't that extreme. They're showing me the office. They're showing me desks in the workplace, and that there have been many opportunities for many people to advance their primal programming and learn about themselves through interactions with coworkers, superiors, people who work for you, all the various positions in a hierarchy or lack of hierarchy allows you to see and witness yourself and how you interact, how you respond, what the patterns are, what is not working, what is too much, and also what is too little. And so as we move more fully into these age of Aquarius energies, we're going to start feeling and sensing our own small shifts, and we're going to notice them, and it would be important to acknowledge it in yourself, to verify it for yourself, because another person would not be able to do it to the extent that you can in terms of that self-acknowledgement. But there is a lot of growth here that's designed to show us new ways of being on the planet that bring us into these higher frequencies, but it has to start with what has been the most dense. They're also bringing my attention to the emotional body, which can relate to primal programming, but the emotional body and how emotions are used, how they are used and felt, how they are experienced. They're saying that a lot of emotions are very much from other lifetimes, other soul experiences that were more extreme, perhaps than this particular lifetime, where there were times that you were literally in a survival mentality when there was a lot more going on, a lot more happening around you that required your emotions to be on alert and required you to be in that fight or flight experience. But now as we evolve and as our consciousness continues to shift, we no longer need to be in that state as readily or as often. And so the emotional body is learning what it means to feel safe on the planet that could be a brand new experience for you at a soul level. And this is also very personal work. And they're showing me that this is the work that often happens within the family unit, with those you live with or you grew up with, those who are a part of your immediate family and who know you at a more personal level. And so as they're sharing this information, I get the visual of the 4th house and the 10th house, that we are realigning what our 4th house carries and what our 10th house offers. We are understanding how they are connected, of course, because it's that 4th house environment that was your first experience of unconscious programming that gave you an understanding of whether your needs were valued, heard, respected, and honored. It also can bring up some of your most important soul contracts in this lifetime. And so that 4th house energy is very important to get to the heart of your emotional body, what you're holding there, even perhaps what you're hiding, because I'm seeing the energy behind the back, what you're hiding from yourself or what perhaps has been too difficult, hard, or emotional to look at, but what needs to come to the forefront so that you can work with it from a conscious, intentional place, meaning there's a desire to move through something or to bust through any family patterns. Now, this is also something that they're saying is really important in this lifetime, is that many people are changing the trajectory of their lineage. They are doing things differently and better than their parents and their grandparents did. This is simply a way that human understanding of relationships is accelerating, and it's also meant to be acknowledged that every generation does the best they can. They do the very best they can with what they know, with what they have, with whatever is presenting themselves in that particular timeline. So it's not meant to be something that you turn around and say to your parents, you didn't do this right. No, rather, it's meant to be an area of acceptance of, okay, they did the best they could. Now that I know better, I will do better. And I will work with what is showing up here that will shift whatever these family patterns have been. This also relates to your children. If you have children, this relates to raising them differently and specifically being more aware of them as energetic beings. Children come into their bodies being more energetically awake and aware, tapped into their psychic gifts. In fact, it's the first 6-7 years of age, the children are in their lunar phase. They are actually in the energy of their moon sign the most. And they are in that place of, what do I need to feel nurtured, to feel connected? Who is my tribe? Who are my caretakers? This is when we are all very impressionable and we are in that energy of our lunar needs. So the moon sign is very important here in the first 6 to 7 years of age. And then as we move into education and schooling systems, we move into our Mercury energy even more, and then it never stops. The Mercury energy doesn't get turned off. So we enter into that phase of our journey when we start school and we begin to rely on our Mercury, our mind, because we need it in all areas of our life even more. But then this is where we can be disconnected from our full awakening energies. So as we move into the age of Aquarius, we are actually entering into more of the fullness of our energies, including parts of ourselves that we left behind or we became disconnected with during previous experiences in our lives. There could be some parts of yourself that come back full steam ahead and also connect you to a younger younger version of yourself. As I say that, I'm seeing a little boy at 4 years old who was highly psychic, highly sensitive, highly aware of his environment. And as he grew up, he had to shut that down. It wasn't allowed. It wasn't accepted. It wasn't even listened to. And it certainly was not taken seriously. So I'm seeing this as a little boy, but I feel too that that has to do with some of the programming that starts to come in around what it means to be a boy, a man, a masculine. And so perhaps that's why this energy is presenting itself, because it could feel more extreme for masculine energies in terms of the parts of yourself that were cut off or left behind simply because they were not accepted or allowed, and that maybe you even rejected parts of yourself and pushed it away because it wasn't valued, and of course it wasn't even loved or welcomed. So I'm seeing that as we move into the age of Aquarius, again, we're going to have more of our fullness arrive, and there's going to be more messages coming in here that have been waiting for you. And as I say this is so funny. I'm seeing the skull with the third eye connected to the two hemispheres of the brain. And then I'm seeing all around the skull, all of these electrical currents that are looking to connect and land and provide information, almost like they've just been hanging out on pause in your aura or in parts of your energy field, waiting for your energy to be open to receiving them, to be willing to accept the downloads, the insights, the story, the details, the possibilities, the information. I'm also seeing this as highly creative, that there's even that visual of a new creative awakening that is actually bringing back parts of yourself from previous timelines, from previous times. I'm feeling it in this lifetime, but you could sense that it's from other lifetimes. Again, whatever was pushed away, was put on the shelf or tossed out to the curb, whatever was not welcomed or accepted, it's coming back in, because the age of Aquarius is where we're declaring, this is the truth of who I really am. This is my authentic energy. This is what I love. This is what excites me. This is what I have to offer and what I want to contribute. So there's going to be these activations that can feel like they're literally taking you out of your mind, that they are so exciting that perhaps they're overwhelming and they're overloading the system. But again, it's almost like this energy has been hanging out and waiting. It's been frozen. It's been frozen and it's been waiting to be thawed so that it can connect to your consciousness now. And I'm also feeling that that is connected to these changes we're feeling in the brainwaves, in the central nervous system, perhaps even in other systems within your body. Maybe you're feeling that parts of your leg are twitching, or that it feels like certain muscles are moving differently. There could be these physical symptoms you're feeling around these new energies and around these personal activations that are coming through. And then going back to the brain waves, you could start to have easier access to memories, experiences, timelines, and soul adventures than ever before. It could feel like you have some instantaneous rememberings, or you're able to do something that you've never done before, almost like all of a sudden you have a talent or an ability, or there's something you're interested in that you never gave a second chance to, or you never looked at. So there's shifts happening here that are actually allowing us to see more of who we really are, and to welcome that in, to work with it, and to also understand that this directly affects our multidimensional expansion, that we are probably operating in more timelines than we realize, and that's also what you could be feeling throughout the day, where you enter into a more grounded timeline. They're saying a Saturn timeline that has you at work, doing your job on the computer, taking care of business, and then you could shift into a Venus timeline after work or later on in the evening. You could then shift back into a Mercury timeline, or perhaps a lunar timeline. So we're dealing with multiple timelines more often than we realize, and it could help you understand where your energy is at and why you're feeling a certain way. This could also be something that the brain is computing and the brain is realizing. Now I'm seeing languages. I've heard stories of people waking up from a coma and they speak a different language, or of just being able to grasp a language quickly. That is one way, of course, that this energy can manifest as well. But there's importance here around language, the language we use, but also access to different languages that we've spoken in other lifetimes. And we have this recall of what it means or what's being said. I'm actually hearing Latin, and Latin is not a language that's taught very much at all these days. It's not the standard, at least here in the US. So that could be interesting, is if there's anything around one particular language that you feel called to explore or understand, that could be part of how you are connecting with these new streams of consciousness that have been frozen and are thawing. And it could also be quite personal, meaning it's like following a breadcrumb that leads you back to another experience that your soul has had, another lifetime, another soul story. There will be many ways that we will feel and sense these new energies arriving. And this is part of our multidimensional growth, that we are expanding in many directions all at once. We could feel like we are moving in many timelines simultaneously, and there will be a need to consistently ground ourselves, to stop, pause, check in with our heartbeat, listen to our body, and understand how we can best ground these energies in our lives even more. There's also a very powerful acknowledgement here of how far humanity has come and how much we have shifted the vibration on the planet, that there is more light on the planet than ever before. There are more people claiming their spiritual gifts who have a sincere curiosity around how they can become more of their multidimensional self. There is an awareness that we are more than we've been taught or told, and there are many who have trusted this message to move towards that fullness in themselves. And so we have shifted a lot on the planet. We have entered into a new timeline on the planet that will open up new potentials, but it's also going to be vital to learn from the past, to not recreate lessons or experiences that we've had before, and to understand that this is a planet for humans. This is a planet for human life and the human experience, and how we coexist with other sentient beings, how we interact with the mammals, the animals, the birds, all forms of vegetation and life, that this is a planet that has a very special agenda in the solar system, and that it's up to us to honor that energy without giving it away, without allowing it to be taken over to the point of disrespecting human life and all beings on the planet. And so some of our biggest issues in the age of Aquarius will be around what we allow on the planet, what truly supports human life or hinders it. It will bring up more moral and ethical issues that we'll have to face. It will also bring up ways to push back on agendas that might seem that they are more powerful or stronger, but the power is really in the collective. It's the strength of the individuals now that is going to be heard and going to shift more of what affects our lifestyles, our cultures, our societies, and that we have more of a say than ever before. And that's part of how the age of Aquarius is lighting us up, to use our voices, to be strong in our words, to be powerful in what we want, and to remain in that energy in order to overthrow any agendas that are dismissing the value of human life or that are not honoring what is best for the many. And this is how the new consciousness is going to support what we want. It's how we're going to have memories of what didn't work out before or what we don't want to repeat. It's how we're going to connect with stronger realizations around how we want to live life on this planet, and that we don't want it changing in extreme ways. Meaning it's up to us to stay aware of the technologies, the science, robotics, innovations, space exploration, and off-planetary energies. We are becoming Earth guardians, and we are understanding what is beautiful and precious about this planet even more, especially through the experience of contrast. contrast between elements, such as the natural organic elements on this planet, the grass, the waves, the beach, the mountaintops, the flowers, the organic natural elements that are designed to flourish here. And then the contrast with automation, digital living, computers and devices, electronics and machines, that it's about finding the appropriate formula, the appropriate harmony for all these elements to exist in a way that supports human life and human experiences without diminishing and devaluing the best of the planet or the best of the human experience. And so we will have some very big choice points to make, and we will also need to stand strong and firm in our collective boundaries, which will vary and look different. But essentially, it's staying cognizant of what we are co-creating, because we are doing so with the earth. This particular age of Aquarius is going to accelerate us even more than previous cycles, and it's going to take us into new realms that will be wildly exciting and creative, that will be mind-blowing and stunning, and it also will bring up shocking revelations and discoveries that can change the trajectory and change the understanding of what we've previously believed. So we are expanding our consciousness here. We are doing so strongly and powerfully every time the sun is conjunct Pluto, which again will happen for the next 19 years until 2044. And this will continue to be an influential energy on the planet as we individually feel ourselves changing and opening up to more of our multidimensional gifts. So if you are feeling this in yourself, you are right on time. I hope this helps with understanding how you are designed to evolve during these energies, and also to understand what you're witnessing or observing in others, especially your children, parents, or family members who may also be feeling these energies quite powerfully. This is certainly a very dynamic time on the planet, and it's allowing us to enjoy more of our energy and gifts than ever before. And that is one of the best ways to work with this energy stream. If you need support in this experience of new energies arising and arriving, I do have a new guided meditation available called Dancing with Your Quantum Light Body. It's a 50-minute guided visualization that helps activate more in your physical self, that starts at the heart chakra. And then I guide you through the different areas of your body to activate through the quantum field. And this can certainly help with integration and also feeling proactive around these awakenings as they are arriving. I will put the link below the podcast episode here. But thank you for joining me for this Monday podcast. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for a new episode. On the Wednesday show is where we talk about the weekly energies. So I look forward to connecting with you then. In the meantime, I hope that these Aquarius energies are showing you more of who you came to be in this lifetime, revealing all the ways that you are cherished and honored simply for being here, for taking a body during these wild ride of energies. And I hope too that it also reminds you of how deeply you're supported and connected to the cosmos. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to connecting with you on another podcast episode soon. Take good care.